Well, how the turntables, it's been weeks since Marvel Rivals was released, and it's been hit with the inevitable. Dissatisfied players who are not happy with the game's balance, performance, or battle pass progression. Understandable, as poor performance and hero imbalances does not a fun game make. Battle pass issue is a bit more nuanced, I suspect. I don't know, I never use battle passes. But let's see what people are saying about heroes being overpowered, underpowered, or perfectly fine, as well as the massive GPU crashes and frame rate issues on top of that. Then I'll throw in some of my own criticisms based on my own experiences in the game breakdown. So yeah, Jarek Defiler here with a video emphasizing some of the criticisms that have manifested in the Marvel Rivals community as of late. And like always, I will be covering this from the perspective of a dirty casual who only plays quick play, alright? Main point of this video is to inform any new players or prospect players as to the current flaws with the game. All that said, after playing 80 hours, I love Marvel Rivals and have been having a blast with it despite all these issues, but like any other game out there, it ain't perfect, so I thought I'd warn those looking to start playing about these problems so they aren't game shocked, nah I mean? Okay, straight to the point, the performance issues have been causing quite the frenzy as of late. Many people, my little brother included, have been experiencing a plethora of crash to desktops on a consistent basis. Many of these are people with decent rigs that aren't trying to run the game on a potato while simultaneously downloading copious amounts of stepsister furry porn. My brother, for instance, was playing on a really good gaming laptop in the other room of my house. He came over and we were just playing custom bot games so he could learn the heroes and mechanics and whatnot, as this was his first time playing. Virtually every other match or even round, the game would crash to desktop for him. This is a very common experience with players, as we can see all over Reddit and the Steam discussions. I myself was experiencing this when the game first came out, as I had a few crashes as well, but for some reason the Marvel gods apparently took pity on me, and I haven't had a crash since the second day after release. Seems to be a crapshoot. Needless to say, this is something that is plaguing a lot of players, and NetEase has yet to address it. Hopefully we'll see something from them in the future. It doesn't affect everyone, but it affects many. Another performance issue is disconnects. This I have experienced a bit lately. Occasionally I will be in a match trying to slash up the enemy tank on Wolverine just to have everyone start running in place or into walls. Eventually I'm met with the dreaded disconnect. No! There is a reconnect feature, but it never really works for me and I'm often unable to rejoin the match. Not sure if the match just dissolves for everyone or if it's just me, but this also has been happening to a lot of people. I have fiber and really good consistent connections and speeds on my internet, so it's not from my end, I can tell you that. Now, having these disconnects and crashes is bad enough in and of themselves, but the biggest problem outside of your team getting screwed over is that the game is punishing people with lever penalties when they succumb to these issues. Luckily for me, I have only had warnings and have yet to be actually penalized, mainly because the disconnects happen very randomly for me and aren't back to back, I suppose. But others, like my little brother, might be getting crashes every match or every other match, which then leads to them being penalized for it. Not cool, NetEase. You shouldn't be punishing players for your game being poorly optimized. And given the random nature of some of these disconnects and crashes, it's really not the player's fault to try and keep playing, because sometimes they might get 5 games in a row with no issues, only to get 3 back-to-back littered with crashes and disconnects. Lame. Moving on, the Battle Pass pushback. Recently, NetEase released some bad news. Much to the ire of players, chrono tokens, the currency used to unlock rewards in the Battle Pass, will not be rolling over to the next season. Oof. They reset and you gotta start from scratch. However, any chrono tokens purchased with the lattice currency will be retained for future seasons. Needless to say, this didn't go over well with players, and it just adds more confusion on top of an already confusing currency system in the game. I mean, I never looked into this too hard because I just don't care personally. Eventually I'll get some skins to support the game, but I just haven't taken the time yet because, well, in all honesty, I don't care for any of the skins of the heroes I mainly play. Hopefully they'll come out with some new ones. But a lot of players who are interested in the store and currency are not happy with this decision to reset chrono tokens. Many see it as being pointless to grind out the currency now if they can't keep it, which makes a heaping amount of sense to me, but that said, I think that's common practice in battle passes, is it not? Otherwise people would just be able to stock up on the currency and then blow it all in the next season without having to do any missions and whatnot for those rewards. Is that a thing? I mean, even if it was, is that a bad thing? Let the players farm how they want, right? I don't know. Again, I have no idea because I don't take part in battle passes and I'm old and crusty and don't really understand how they work. Maybe someone with more knowledge of the subject can explain to me in the comments, as I have to plead ignorance here. But still, thought I'd mention it as it is something players have been upset about lately. Okay, now the big one. Hero balance. Dun dun dun. It's really rough out there, ladies and gents. I spoke on this in my previous Marvel's Rivals videos, so all three of you that watched it know where I stood at that point. But my opinion has changed quite a bit, and I was wrong in my first impressions, naturally, as everyone started to figure the heroes out and learn who the real powerhouses are. That's simply the nature of PvP games and hero shooters in general. But we gamers always find something to complain about regardless. So now we have a new perspective on Marvel Rivals, and new heroes have come to the forefront of what many may consider to be overpowered or underpowered. For starters, let me make my position clear here. I don't really feel there's heroes that are straight up overpowered. I do think there are heroes that are far superior to others and maybe are overtuned, but I don't equate that to being overpowered. Know what I'm saying? To me, overpowered means they're basically unstoppable against any and every hero. There's no point of even trying to go up against them without your whole team because they'll always come out on top no matter what. I don't see any heroes having that sort of imbalance at all here in Marvel Rivals. Granted, I am talking from the perspective of a casual who plays the game solely for fun and quick play, so all I care about is if the game is fun and if the heroes are decent enough to not take away from my fun. But competitive may be a whole nother story because those people take the game far more seriously than I. That said, there are some heroes that many would consider to be overtuned, myself included. For starters, Hela, or is it Hela? I'll just say Hela, is probably the strongest duelist in the game at the moment. She basically does sniper damage and range without any of the drawbacks. She has a very powerful kit that not only grants her a massive damage main attack, but it also allows her a good escape and AoE stun as well. She's really good and doesn't have much downside because if you try and dive her, she can simply two-shot you with some fairly easy to hit headshots at point-blank range. Fun stuff. Not really. I would love to see some lower damage on her main attack, to be honest. As it is now, Hela can kill enemies in the same amount of hits as Black Widow at medium to close range. They both take 2 headshots to kill your average enemy, such as Luna, that you can see in the practice range here. However, Hela does take 3 headshots to kill Luna from a long range distance compared to Black Widow's 2 headshots. But the thing is, Hela has an insanely faster attack speed that she can just hold the fire button down and pump out, whereas Widow has to cock her gun after each shot. More on that later. Another hero that you will see in virtually every single match is Hawkeye. I hate this piece of shit, but is he overpowered? No, he is just again overtuned and ultimately unfun to play against in my amazingly humble opinion. His damage is way too high for what he can do, and he isn't that susceptible to dive because he can pretty much just one-shot you when you get close. He also has plenty of ways to escape as well with the double jump or knocking the opponent back with his melee ability. Don't really see that many weaknesses on him outside of just having to aim well, which is a weakness of mine, gotta admit. I suck. But Hawkeye's ability to one-shot with ease is super annoying, and I consider him the least fun hero to play against. They need to work either on his one-shot capability or his draw speed or something, because he is a problem in quick play, and when he tops damage and kills every single match that Hela isn't in, it generally isn't a good sign of a balanced hero. But again, not overpowered, just overtuned and unfun to play against. Psylocke, the Rivals version of Genji, is also a problem at times given her ability to team wipe with her ult and harass the backline. She can delete most squishies in a matter of seconds, which is the point of a backline harasser, but her plethora of escape mechanics on top of an invisibility is a bit much, I feel. But you only really see her true potential when a player who knows what they're doing is using her. Fortunately, in quick play, those are few and far between. Magik I would consider to be the epitome of the sleeper duelist. People have started to figure her out, and she is now becoming one of the strongest duelists in the game, capable of tanking multiple heroes while doing assassin damage. She can kill a normal HP hero in less than 2 seconds while having massive amounts of bonus health on top of that, which makes her extremely tanky. Trying to focus her down is easier said than done because in a team fight, the more enemies she hits, the more bonus health she gets. She's very snowbally and very sticky. I'm going to start playing more of her, I think. Yes. Perhaps the only overpowered aspect of the game is not so much a singular hero, but the dual courtship that is Mantis and Luna. Muna. Or maybe Mana. Yeah. These two synergize way too good off each other, and when combined, pretty much make their team invulnerable due to their extremely low cooldown ultimates that they tend to chain one after another, leaving the team basically invincible for around 20 seconds. This is a problem. It's showing up a lot in quick play now that people have figured it out. Wouldn't surprise me if Luna's ult sees a nerf next season as it lasts 12 seconds, which is extremely strong. 12 seconds of team near invincibility is crazy. She is also completely immune to CC during her ult, so yeah. Granted, she can't attack or use any other abilities during that time, but she doesn't need them because her team should be doing everything under the safety net of her healing. Mantis is probably the strongest support in the game at the moment. Not only does she top heals every match, but she can often out DPS most duelists when played properly. And while in her ultimate, she is able to continue attacking and casting abilities while not only having it heal, but also granting bonus health to everyone. It also has a much larger area of effect than Luna's. That said, it only lasts 8 seconds compared to Luna's 12, but still, stupid strong. When you put those two together on the enemy team, good luck trying to win the team fight. I feel that's going to be addressed later on down the road as well, and would be surprised if it isn't. But in fairness, on their own, Mantis and Luna aren't overpowered. It's only when they are put together. So how can one balance that, really? I have no idea. I will say at least they take some skill to play, as you have to actually aim with them, with the exception of Mantis' heal. But you also have to crit on Mantis in order to regain her life orbs, her healing and buffing resource. Pretty interesting mashup of support and DPS, and I like the heroes. I think they're designed really well. They just need to figure out how to balance them when played together without breaking them, hopefully. Okay, now to the underpowered heroes, which I believe there are some. For starters, Storm. Not really much reason to use her when you have Iron Man if you're looking for a vertical route. She can't headshot and her damage is very lackluster compared to other heroes. Sure, she can boost her allies with movement, speed, and damage, which is cool, but is it really worth picking her for it? I don't think so. But there is something that many don't seem to realize about Storm. She's actually not the best in the air. You generally want to play her on the ground because her attacks go through enemies. So she is capable of dishing out some decent AoE damage due to piercing fire, which is why her attack damage is probably so low. But again, is it worth picking her over Iron Man when he can do more AoE damage more successfully from the air? I think not personally, but she is another one I want to try and play more to learn though. I could just suck the assholes of 1,000 nations when it comes to Storm. Black Widow needs some love. Bad. As I showed earlier, Hela does the same damage as her, but while hip firing and with way faster attack speed. But here's the thing, I actually think Black Widow is in a good place as a sniper. I think it should take 2 hits to kill someone. I think Hawkeye and Hela should have their damage lowered to be more in line with Widow's. 2 headshots make it so it's not infuriating to play against like it is when going up against Hawkeye, and it allows the receiving player to take some action to prevent a death rather than simply walking around a corner and being insta-gamed. I love the time to kill ratio in this game because it allows for you to react to a situation and thus giving you a chance at survival rather than simply being slaughtered over and over. And let's be honest, no one likes being one-shot by snipers. It's just not fun, so requiring 2 headshots to kill is very balanced in my opinion. That said, Black Widow doesn't have the attack speed to follow up with the second shot. Having to cock her gun every time is detrimental when it comes to confirming a kill, because her shots are so slow. If she gets that first headshot, the enemy has plenty of time to get topped off by a healer, because heals are super strong in Marvel Rivals, or to simply walk around an obstacle in line of sight Widow. It's very frustrating trying to play the sexy red-headed assassin when she can't even assassin anybody because her stupid gun is so slow. Still, nice to see that she does them deep squats though. Now, I saved the worst for last as I have a lot to say about him. Wolverine, my homie. Wolverine has become my most played hero because I kept seeing everywhere over various discussion boards and Reddit threads and whatnot that he is the worst hero in the game. Whenever I see that, I tend to always focus on playing that hero. I did it in Overwatch with Symmetra and Torbjorn, I did it in Overwatch 2, or 1.2, and I'm doing it here. I like the challenge and I like trying to make bad characters work, so I've been playing a lot of Wolverine. And yes, he is definitely the worst hero in the game. Now, I like Wolverine. After Squirrel Girl, he's probably becoming my favorite hero to play in Marvel Rivals. I like his kit, I like his mechanics for the most part, but they are just fundamentally broken. Let me explain. The biggest problem with Wolverine is his Feral Leap. This is the most inconsistent ability in the game. What it's supposed to do is grab an enemy and jump off with them in tow so you can basically pull an enemy hero into your team. Great, right? Sounds fantastic. The problem is, it doesn't work 80% of the time. I have leapt through Groot and Hulk body blocking me, yet I'll just pass through them with no grab. And good luck trying to grab a Mantis, Jeff, or God forbid Rocket. It just ain't happening consistently in the heat of battle. The hitbox on Feral Leap is beyond broken. And don't let playing him in practice range fool you, because that is big difference between that and playing in quick play. Now you'll hear people say you have to use Vicious Rampage and then Leap to grab enemies, but that still doesn't work the majority of the time. Trust me, I've tried plenty, and you shouldn't have to combo an ability with the Leap for it to function properly. It should be working on its own. Secondly, Wolverine's damage to non-tanks is abysmal. With max rage, it takes Wolverine 9 hits to kill a Luna. At 0 rage, it takes a minimum of 12 hits. That's a long time without the attack speed boost of his Feral Leap, which has a 12-second cooldown. For perspective, it takes Luna 5 of her multi-shots to kill a Luna with body shots, and 3 with headshots. But here's the kicker, despite Wolverine having 300 HP to Luna's 275, it still takes her the exact same amount of time and shots to kill the Wolverine than it does to kill another Luna. How sad is that? And given Wolverine's dash, which is generally used as initiator, and it's on a 3-second cooldown, all Luna has to do is backpedal and smack him in the face because she can outdamage him, as a strategist and a healer, versus a duelist. Yeah, Unfortunately, this is a common theme among those playing against Wolverine who know what they're doing. Wait for him to dash in, use an escape to gain distance, backpedal and aim for head, and you're golden. Another huge problem with Wolverine is he is pigeonholed into playing in a very specific way. Not simply to play optimally, mind you, but simply to play at all. Because if you don't play him exactly as the top ranked guys do, you're just going to die every fight. Simple as that. He doesn't have any other options really. Which brings me to another point. Wolverine's sole purpose is to be a tank buster. That's it. His main attacks are granted more damage based on his rage, but also on the enemy's max health, so the higher the enemy's HP pool, the more damage he does. Naturally, this leaves him completely at a disadvantage against non-tanks. It also forces him to mainly focus on tanks throughout the entire match. This sucks. It's not fun when you're forced to play a certain way in order to be the least bit affected for your team. No other hero is pigeonholed like this, and everyone likes to point to the player TeamCaptain as an example of Wolverine being super strong and effective because one guy managed to get rank 1 with him. That's an awesome feat, mind you, I'm impressed. However, if you watch his streams or his videos, you would see that he kinda proves why Wolverine is the worst hero. For instance, there's this clip where he states he doesn't know why Feral Leap doesn't work.
I want to grab the Groot here because he's really far forward. Like, guys, I don't know why this doesn't grab, I can't lie. That should be a grab.
Even the top ranked guy is baffled by its jankiness. Secondly, TeamCaptain explains that he plays Wolverine to mostly not play Wolverine. What do I mean by this? He spends pretty much the majority of the match on a rooftop or balcony watching the enemy team while he waits for his abilities to come off cooldown for 12 seconds. He just stands around waiting for his Feral Leap and Undying Animal to come off cooldown so he can go in again and hopefully get lucky with his Feral Leap grabbing someone. What other heroes have to do this? I never see Hela having to sit on a rooftop waiting for cooldowns. I never see Thor not going into a fight because he has to wait for his awakening rune. Hell, even Black Panther doesn't have to wait around so long to be effective. Only Wolverine has to do this because if not, he's screwed. And that's not even mentioning his passive, which is basically Venom's symbiotic resilience that is on a 90-second cooldown. Outside of Doctor Strange's portal, I believe Wolverine's passive is the only ability in the game with a cooldown over 25 seconds. And it's one of his most iconic features, being able to regenerate injuries. No idea what they were thinking with that design, but it's awful. Sure, you can lower the cooldown with kills and assists, but you're not really doing that because you're too busy standing on the sidelines waiting for your abilities to come off cooldown. So yeah, Wolverine is a bad hero. Just because some people, myself included as I've gotten many MVPs in matches with him, were able to make him work at the bare minimum in focusing tanks and hiding the rest of the match, doesn't mean he's a good hero. He needs some love. He needs his Feral Leap fix, he needs his regeneration passive overhauled or tweaked at the very least, he needs more damage with his rage against non-tanks, and he could use some sort of movement boost or something after his leap or dash, because going into a fight just to have the enemy backpedal and shoot you in the face the whole time because you can't touch them is a common occurrence with our poor little Wolverine. And I'm not saying he needs all those things, but just some variation of tweaks. Personally, I think I would be satisfied with just his Feral Leap being fixed to be way more consistent. Okay, another thing that I just remembered while writing this, the issue of third-person perspective when it comes to hitboxes. This is another problem that allows range units, especially Hawkeye and Hela, to get headshots way too easily due to the game's point of view being in third person. As you can see here, I am aiming very far off target, and yet I am smacking the head regardless. This only works when aiming to the right of the character. This is because all heroes are on the left side of the screen, which has the supposed path of the projectile going from left to right at an angle. This means it will cut through anything on its path to the crosshair. This is a huge problem when fighting heroes with high headshot damage, or any damage really, like Hela, Punisher, Moon Knight, and Hawkeye, because they don't really have to aim properly to get tremendous results. Hitboxes in the game are severely broken in general, to be honest. I mean, just take a look at this. As you can see, I am clearly behind Punisher while slashing at his back. However, I get killed, and in the kill cam you can't even see me in his view, yet I was obliterated while behind him. The guy wasn't hacking or anything, and I wasn't lagging. The game just has poor optimization and hitboxes. And another thing, God, I fucking hate Hawkeye so much. Just look at this. He doesn't even have to have his sights on the enemy in order to charge his bow. This is beyond egregious. I just can't. Someone please just kill me. Lastly, there is an issue with bots in the PvP matches. This isn't conjecture or conspiracy, this has pretty much been proven. There's a whole mega thread on it in the Steam discussions where many people cover it in depth. I've seen it myself. Here was one such match, for example. You can see the patterns in the naming conventions, and at the start of the match all the bots will freeze in place the first 3 or so seconds before the game starts. It's a mess and no one is sure why the devs have it in the game. Some speculate it's to give players on a losing streak a morale boost, others say it's to force a 50% win rate, some say it's to pad the player numbers, which doesn't make much sense to me. I haven't seen any evidence for any of these, and most likely these people are just talking out their ass, so yeah, that's a thing. Doesn't really bother me as I don't see it happen often, but it does happen. There are bots in PvP patches. But that should cover the major flaws and problems I've seen in the game as of late. Let me know in the comments below if I missed something or if you disagree. I know I'll probably get some flack from Wolverine fans, and hey, I'm a fan too. Like I said, he's become my most played hero. But you're probably not going to convince me that he isn't the worst hero in the game. Being forced to play a very niche, overly cautious style completely revolving around cooldown dependency does not make him a good hero if you somehow get results with said playstyle. In fact, it's what makes him bad outside of his broken leap. No other hero has to resort to such a specific niche playstyle to be effective. If Punisher or Moon Knight or Hela don't have their cooldowns, they can still shoot and be effective and help the team. Wolverine doesn't have that advantage. But who knows, maybe there's something I missed, for I am but a dirty, filthy casual who still loves Marvel Rivals despite its flaws. Alrighty ladies and gents, thanks for watching my humble video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to help out the channel, it'd be much appreciated. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hope some of you got some good information out of this. Be sure to check out my Marvel Rivals first impressions video to see how it compares with my perspective today. And I will also have a War Tales video coming out soon for all you RPG strategy fans out there, so keep an eye out for that one as that game is amazing. Anyways, this has been Jarek Defiler, wallowing in pity for my Wolverine. You all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night depending on where you are. And go kick some super butts in Marvel Rivals. Yeah, break down.